Hello and welcome to OddsChecker's NFL Prop Show. What's going on? I am Matt O'Leary, joined as always by Derek, Geoff, and John, and we got you covered for Week 10. It was a tough week for Matt, me, and Geoff. We both went 1-3. Derek had a good week, 3-1, and John, in his first appearance on the show, went 2-2. So we'll see how we do this week. We'll start it as always with a passing prop. Let's kick it off with Derek. What do you got for us this week?
Yeah, I'm looking a lot at this Falcons Cowboys game this week. Matt Ryan over 24.5 completions, -130. This is a spot where we expect Atlanta to be down. You know, they're 8.5-point underdogs. We expect them to be passing for a lot of this game. It projects as the fastest paced game on the slate by a good amount. Atlanta's a fast-paced offense. Dallas is very fast-paced. And so this is a spot where they should be throwing a lot. The total play volume should be high. It's in a dome, so they should be completing more passes, moving the chains. 24.5 for Ryan looks like a pretty good over for me. I haven't projected for, I think, 28 or 29.
All right, there we go. So let's throw it on over to John, who I saw on Twitter. It's your birthday today, so I don't think you're allowed to lose any bets on your birthday.
No.
Let's hear it, my friend.
Let's go. I hate to do an under, but it's a Kirk Cousins under, so it's kind of an over. But under 274.5 passing yards. I mean, he didn't even get over 200 last week or the week before. Last week was a wild one, too. I mean, both teams were in the 30s, yet he still didn't do it. This week they got the Chargers. They give up the run. No offense. But they're, I think, 30 or dead last, whatever it is, 32nd. Dead last in the NFL in yards per rush attempt to opposing running backs. Dalvin Cook should be able to get his. So that takes away yards from Cousins. I don't think he gets anywhere near 274.5 yards.
All right, absolutely. Up top to Geoff. What are we thinking this week?
Well, I guess I'm always, sometimes going to throw the gray area of the passing prop. I'm going to a quarterback, but I'm making it a rushing prop. Mike White under 3.5 rushing yards. He is a pocket passer. In his one game and two partial games, I guess we will call them, he has yet to scramble one time. Pocket passer coming off an injury. He doesn't run the ball at all. Under 3.5 rushing yards for Magic Mike White.
I love it. I'm going to stay with that game. I'm going with Josh Allen and the over at 284.5 passing yards. I mean, the Jets defense has been bleeding yards and points specifically the last few games here. They've allowed 317 passing yards per game over the last three. Josh Allen coming off a tough performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he's trying to get back on track and get his Bills back on track. And I think this one gets ugly and he goes off for a big day. As for a rushing prop, we'll go back around the wheel. Derek, what do you got for us this week?
Yeah, I'm sticking with this Buffalo Jets game for mine, and I'm going with Michael Carter over 38.5 rushing yards. He's beaten this easily the past couple weeks, and I mean, this is clearly his backfield now. Like, this is a guy that is playing well. We know the Jets like him. This is a team that's going to have to run the ball, even though they're going to be playing from behind. This is a team, because of their quarterback situation, they're going to be running the ball, especially early. It's not a very high number to get over for a guy who's going to be getting, 70% of the carries here. So I like Michael Carter over 38.5 rushing yards. I haven't projected for 56. So this is a pretty clear over for me.
All right, there we go. Over to John.
I'm going to stay in that game too, but I'm going to go with Josh Allen over 33.5 rushing yards. He's done this in 4 of the last 5 games. I think they're going to stomp the Jets just because of what happened last week with Buffalo. I just think they're a good team that got, caught slipping a little bit. Allen, I'm trying to think, he's going to carry for at least 7-8 times. 33.5 just not enough.
All right, there we go. Up top to Geoff.
All right, I'm, I guess, going to play off John's initial quarterback prop and agree with pretty much everything he said, which leads me to Dalvin Cook over 90 rushing yards. I'm certain there's going to be a big one busted for Dalvin in this game, like he's pretty much capable of every every single week. But on top of that, Drew Tranquil, one of the better tackling linebackers for the Chargers, he's out with COVID. Kenneth Murray hoping to return. It was demoralizing to see the Eagles run all over them. They don't have the sort of skill set potentially that other teams that have just mopped the floor with the Chargers with their run game have had. So I see no way in which Dalvin doesn't get this 90 yards. And in some way, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think it's possible.
Geoff, we're on the same page here. This is my rushing prop as well. I'm going Dalvin Cook over 90.5. The Chargers, they not good against the run. 161 or 162 yards actually on the ground per game. Over the last 3, it's up to 168. I just think with Minnesota's game plan on offense, they're going to be trying to run the ball. That's their strength, and going up against this Chargers defense where it's clearly a weakness, I think he goes over that fairly easily. So we'll loop back around one more time for a receiving prop. Derek, what do we got this week?
I'm going back to the Atlanta-Dallas game. Cordero Patterson over 4.5 receptions, -125. This looks like a pretty good bet to me. With Calvin Ridley out now, Patterson's involvement in the pass game has been significantly higher. In the 5 games with Ridley, he was running routes on 37% of the dropbacks and getting 13% of the targets. In the 3 games without Ridley, he's over 50% of the routes and 20% of the targets. And so 4.5 for a guy like this, catching balls out of the backfield, should have a high completion percentage. This looks like a good bet to me in a game, again, where it should be fast-paced, a lot of pass attempts, high efficiency in the dome. So this looks like a really strong bet.
All right, there we go. Over to John.
Let's go Jeff Swaim, the Titans tight end, over 14.5 receiving yards. I just like the low-hanging fruit. He seems to be their tight end now. The last couple of weeks, he's been on the field for over 70% of the snaps. I'm guessing they're going to need points, so 14.5 just feels just too low. He's gone over this in the last 2 weeks, almost 30 yards in both games.
All right, up top to Geoff.
We saw some star players last week really struggle. I think that correlates to maybe some of the upsets that we saw across the board last week in the NFL. And while the Chiefs won, it was a very unflattering 4 receptions, 35-yard performance for Tyreek Hill. I'm still not a believer in that Raiders secondary. Gus Bradley, the new defensive coordinator, he's been getting a lot of credit. They have not played many opponents who can take advantage of them. And while the Chiefs in their current form, some would argue, certainly might not be that, Hill's been getting like 11 targets a game. So we're going to go over the 6.5 receptions for Tyreek Hill this week after a ugly performance last week. We'll buy the dip a bit.
All right, there we go. I'm going to go over to the Atlanta Falcons and take a look at Russell Gage over 53.5. The last 2 games that he started, he's gone over 60. And I think with their wide receiver situation, I think he's going to be heavily involved in this game. And I think they'll be able to throw the ball against against the Dallas Cowboy defense. So I think he goes well over this number, as well as Kyle. I like Kyle Pitts a lot too this week, but decided to go with Russell Gage here for this show. So we'll do one more around the clock for a bonus. Derek, what do we got?
I'm going to go with Derek Carr's passing yards, over 290.5, -114. Derek Carr, I just feel like, is kind of like that boring quarterback that people don't realize is actually elite. He's really good, and the spot is a good one for him too this week. He's at home. He's in the dome. He's against this KC defense that has struggled so much this year, and it is an extreme pace-up spot. KC is the 4th fastest pace offense in football, and so this is a spot where he should see more volume than usual, probably should be playing from behind and throwing a bit more in the second half. And so over 290.5 for Carr looks good. I haven't projected for 225-ish.
All right, there we go. Over to John.
3.
I like DeAndre Swift over 11.5 rush attempts. And if you're going to watch this game, you're going to need some action on it. I mean, it should be pretty bad. Steelers, Lions. It feels kind of crazy to take a Lions running back, but to be honest with you, I don't see how he doesn't get this number. He got it last week and they got demolished. He's done it the last 3 weeks. Another one of those games they got killed in as well. So they still want to run the ball. They still want to get him involved. Jamal Williams might not play. I just think 11.5, again, more low-hanging fruit.
Sweet. Sounds good. Up to Geoff.
Let's make it a bonus round Swift party. I, however, am going with the over 39.5 receiving yards, a number that he has hit in 6 of the 8 contests this year. He seems to be one of the most viable or maybe the most reliable receiving options for Jared Goff. Long-standing Anthony Lynn as an offensive coordinator loves to just feed those running backs in every stop that he has made. It's been integral to his game planning, and that continues to be the case with a anemic Lions team that struggles to move the ball anywhere. So Swift over 39.5.
There we go. I'm going to go with Russell Wilson under 22.5 completions. He hasn't done it once this year, and you'd have to go back to last year. I think it's 10 straight, actually, that he's gone under this number. Green Bay defense has actually been pretty solid. I think Russ coming back is they're going to try to ease him in a little bit. They'll kind of focus more on the run game than have him throw a whole lot. So I don't think he gets up to 23 where he'll need to get to hit this one. So that's going to do it for us on our prop show here in week 10. You make sure to tune in again next week to find out how we do. As always, that's going to do it for us here at OddsChecker. I'm Matt O'Leary. We'll talk to you next time.